Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into the Bullet Points. Sorry about the hiatus. We've been working on our online store, gearyouneed.com, for a while, so there has been a little bit of gap in videos. But we're here today to bring you some awesome stuff. I've got Michael from Rugged Suppressors here that's going to talk about some stuff that we haven't been able to do in the past. You know, being based out of California, you know, we weren't privy to a lot of high-capacity magazines, several you know, semi-auto rifles, and really suppressors. So with that, we don't really need these anymore. And we're going to talk with Michael about Rugged Suppressors' new Obsidian. So tell us about this.
So this is our flagship 45 suppressor, the Obsidian 45. It's modular, so you can take it apart, just like our Surge 762.
Now the Surge 762 was the first suppressor you guys came out with.
It was.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Now a lot of our viewers are fairly new to suppressors because we haven't had a whole lot of you know, experience with them.
Yeah.
But you know, they come apart. Is there any cleaning or maintenance that goes into these?
So the great thing about the Obsidian 45 is it's completely take apart. You can remove the adapt module, and then the piston. And screwing it from the piston housing. And the baffles drop right out.
Wow.
Full
That is
17.4 stainless steel.
Okay.
It's full auto rated, 45 ACP.
Great.
Absolutely.
Well, that's one of the things that I've noticed with suppressors, and the little bit of research I've done on them, and you know, had a chance to play with a few of them, is generally, you know, people don't want to run more than about a 30-round magazine through it because they heat up, they can come apart, they can explode. So you guys have really kind of coined the market as far as full auto rated suppressors.
Sure.
So this is full auto rated out of 45. Basically just screws on the end of whatever 45 you have, and it can fit smaller calibers than that too, right?
Absolutely. It's just at home, as at home on a 45 as it is on a 9mm.
Okay. And question for you, ignorant question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is there a major sound difference from firing a smaller cartridge through a larger suppressor?
There is, as opposed to going through a dedicated 9mm, but what we've got with the Obsidian 45 is outstanding sound reduction in 9mm. Dry, the Obsidian's running right around 125 decibels
Okay.
For 9mm, which that puts it right in line with other dedicated 9mm cans.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So it's not even purpose built for that, but it's still able to match, you know, your competitors
Absolutely.
as far as sound suppression. So Rugged Suppressors is a new company, but not necessarily a bunch of new guys starting out their first time building suppressors, right?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
Our lead designer is Henry Graham, who most of you already know about. So.
Yeah, and he came from Silencer Co. Am I correct?
Originally SWR,
Okay.
and then SWR bought, or I'm sorry,
SWR was bought by Silencer.
originally SWR, and then SWR was bought by Silencer Co.
Okay, great. So it's a new company, but a lot of knowledge and a lot of background going into these. So it's not like you're testing something out for the first time. Now tell us a little bit about this Obsidian here. It's 45.
So it's a 45 dedicated 45 can. It's modular, so it goes from a 8.6 inch can and breaks down to a 6.7 inch configuration by removing the adapt module like
Wow,
so.
so you can basically just get a little bit of extra sound suppression by adding the 1.5 or 2 inches on there?
Well, yeah, it ships in the 9-inch configuration, and it gives you the option to break it down into a K configuration can if you wanted something a little bit lighter for going into the woods, packing, or for going in the woods, hiking, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera.
Now, when you screw this onto a host gun, is there any sort of lockdown or anything? Or I mean, your threads hold pretty tight, don't they?
They do, absolutely. Okay. Once it's locked to the, screwed on to the shoulder of the host weapon, it's not going to move.
So you mentioned dry. What's wet entail?
Well, you can actually add a small amount of water to the suppressor to quieten it down. The great thing about the Obsidian 45 is, in its full-length configuration, it is the quietest 45 suppressor on the market, coming in at 129 decibels dry.
Okay.
If you were to break it down into the K configuration, it comes in at 139 decibels in the K configuration, which is still hearing safe. If you were to add a small amount of water in the K configuration, then that brings it down to right at 131 decibels wet,
Wow.
which is really phenomenal.
That's fantastic. So not only the quietest suppressor on the market in 45, but also you can basically quiet it down even more by adding a little bit of water, which adds a little bit of weight, but you know, who really cares?
Absolutely.
But with as light as the thing is, and I mean, what's the weight on this?
It comes in the full-length configuration at 12.8 ounces.
Okay.
And in the K configuration, it's 10.6 ounces.
So incredibly light anyway, quietest one on the market, and add a little bit of water, which has a little bit of weight, and you can go even quieter than that.
Absolutely.
Well, man, I'm really excited to throw some rounds downrange with this, and I threw my hearing protection over there, so we're not going to need it.
Let's do it.
Cool. Well, you guys saw us shoot the Obsidian with the 1911. Man, that thing was awesome. The thing I really liked about it is it didn't sit too high. So, you know, you obviously have to put higher sights on it, but they don't have to stick up like an inch over the top of the slide of the gun, which is nice. We were able to hit targets pretty easily out there. You know, I'm a terrible shot anyway, but you know, I was able to hit steel and everything. So, I mean, I was really impressed with that. It didn't throw too much weight on the front of the handgun, which I really liked. Stayed really balanced. What'd you say the weight was on it?
In the long configuration,
Yeah.
it's 12.8 ounces. And in the K configuration, it's 10.6 ounces.
So you're looking under a pound, just over half a pound. I mean, really, really light, especially with you know, 1911 frame, which is fairly heavy anyway. Thank you again to Silencer Shop for putting this whole thing together. If you guys are interested in owning one of these yourself, it's actually a lot easier than you think. Go on silencershop.com and just check out. They have a whole thing that tells you what states you can own them in and different things like that. You can order them and they'll ship them to your local Class 3 FFL. So awesome, awesome suppressor. Really, really impressed with it. We didn't have hearing protection in all day. Fired a ton of rounds through it, and just a really, really good setup. So thank you again for having us out, man. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun to shoot that thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you guys.
Absolutely.